Hey there, my name's Gary. Nice to meet you. If you've never seen any of my videos before, most of the time I lean into YouTube for my creative side. My background is in radio and theater. I am a performer at heart. Um, but I'm also a normal guy on a health journey like every other normal guy, girl, and in between. Um, I will say that I wanted to start sharing my experience with ZEPBOUND um, on here because I have not seen a lot of content with guys and just like the real experience. I'm not a medical professional, so keep that in mind. This is my lived experience and maybe best practices that you might want to use and lean into on your journey. I will say that I'm currently on my second week of 5 milligrams of tirzepatide, ZEPBOUND. Um, but we're going to backtrack a little bit. I do want to start at the beginning, just so, for some context, you understand what my journey has been thus far. Because the beginning is the very best place to start. Julie Andrews, there you go. So with that being said, and if you hear noise around me while I'm doing this, I do have my dogs here. I've got Jacob. This is my long-haired Chihuahua. And then I do have my golden doodle, Olive, who's too big to pick up, but may pop in and out of the screen every now and then. Right? Yeah. She's like, who are you talking to? So with that being said, let's talk about my journey thus far. In 2018, May of 2018, I was my heaviest. I have always been a big guy. I have always had a thick frame, Native American bloodline, and white European mixed mutt here. And in May of 2018, I went to the doctors and I weighed 433 pounds. That scared the hell out of me. And with that being said, I started talking to my doctor, started looking at the bariatric procedure and what was there to offer and maybe benefit me. And I went on a 6-month journey of losing weight on my own, slowly about 50 pounds, and ended up getting a bariatric procedure with the gastric sleeve in January of 2019. Mind you, I started at 433 pounds. I lost well over 220 pounds on that initial journey. If we fast forward a little bit, a lot has happened since then. I was in a sadly failing relationship that ultimately ended about, at the 13.5-year mark. Not too long after I had my procedure. Didn't really coincide with that. It was just timing. And then, we went through this thing called a global pandemic, which I never stopped working. But I think naturally we all sought comforts in our own ways. And mine definitely through that and a breakup and still living with my ex and for a prolonged period of time in the house that we owned. It was a lot, and I started to gain weight back. So fast forward a little bit, I, move out. I moved myself out of the state, take a job opportunity in New York, where I am now, from Maryland, and have just been getting my footing and really leaning into me and not the we. Hi. So here we are, and I've been tracking my weight loosely through my doctor's appointments and just being aware of what that number was on the scale, that dreaded number. And finally it got to a point where I was like, no, this is getting entirely too high. And I had gotten back up to 313 pounds, 313.7 to be exact. That was March 4th, 2025. I have great confidence with my primary, and I had a conversation with him and his assistant and asked them their opinions on these injections and these options that people were leaning into, whether it be for diabetes or weight loss and weight management. And my doctor did advise me that he had seen some great success, and it varies for every single person, because you have to remember, we're all different down to our spit. Like, as gross as that sounds, it's true. The way our bodies respond to things, the way we think about things, the way we process things, we're all different. So no one journey is going to be the same. And that's why I wanted to share my experience, because again, I'm a guy in my early 40s, and I haven't seen a lot of that out there yet. So this is my shared experience. Talk to him, talk to my doctor, and he did share with me that he had found that his patients who have been through a gastric procedure, such as a sleeve or bypass, tend to really achieve success in this journey. And part of that is because we've already done part of the work. We've already done that mindset switch. And that was an aha moment for me. I was like, wait a minute, this could be like a sleeve reset for me. This would be going back to the basics of, just mindful eating, healthy eating. When you're full, put your fork down. What's on my fork? And not thinking of I'm on a diet. I think the word diet personally has always just been this negative connotation to it. Look at it as a menu. Look at what you're eating as a menu option. When you go out to a restaurant, that's your menu. It's not a diet. It's what you can eat. It's what the options are. And it's up to me to make the right decisions for my body. So we decided that we were going to move forward with this. And he put in for the approvals. Number one, he wanted to try get approval for ZEPBOUND. We achieved that. Within the week, I had my prescription sent for 2.5, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe after just one injection, the switch. For me personally, it happened that quick. And it's been amazing. Through my first month of ZEPBOUND 2.5 milligram on tirzepatide, I could feel it in that first 24 hours. My suppression was there for sure. I was feeling fuller. Week 2, okay, consistent. And it would go. It's kind of like a hill or a mountain, however you want to frame it. But, 48 hours, really, you feel you're at your height of suppression. And then coming down on day 5, 6, 7, there's a little bit more, not craving, but, and I'm going to quote the Countess of Shopping, Miss Elizabeth, who is amazing on YouTube. Definitely check her out. It's the hunger, the chatters, the food chatters, the food noise was present. And as my body was acclimating week 2 and 3, now week 3, I'm feeling that noise a little bit sooner. And that's when I knew, okay, my body's regulated. It needs to titrate up. When you do this, you have to have kind of this mindset of a plan of action. When do you move forward? When do you hold back and check and adjust what your current situation is, whatever's best in that moment. With that being said, I needed to give my doctor time to get that prescription filled, and we have a great system worked out. So I just call him up and I'm like, hey doc, things are great. I'm feeling at ease and I'm ready to titrate up, or I'm not ready to titrate up, but please submit my refill. That gives them at least a week and a half, if it's on back order or whatever, to get to the pharmacy. So that's just one little tidbit. Best practice right there. Plan ahead. I was ready on week 3, I was ready for 5 milligrams. I waited until I used up my first 4 injection pens for the first month of 2.5, fully acclimated, used my 5 milligram 2 weeks ago, and it just continues to build in my system. It continues to suppress where I needed to suppress, and thus far I couldn't be happier. As far as the initial weight loss for me, so I'm using that 313 kind of as a benchmark, even though there was a week and a half where I was not on anything. And by the end of the first 4 weeks, I was down more than 20 pounds. I'm tracking all of this in my notes on my phone, just so I can see how everything really comes to fruition for me, how my body reacts to different injection sites, side effects and whatnot. I've been pretty lucky. I've not really experienced any major side effects. A little constipation, but that's balancing out how much protein I'm taking in, how much fiber and all that. So that's just been more of a learning curve, but no gastro like pains or diarrhea or anything of that nature. A little bit of nausea, but it was for like an hour or two post my first 2 injections, and it lasted just a little bit of time, and then it went away. So with that being said, you have to make the right decision for you when you're consulting with your primary, your physician, your provider. I'm not a medical professional, but lead with your heart. Try it if you feel like it's for you. And I'm just really excited to see where this journey takes me as I continue to grow as a human, but not grow as a human. So with that being said, thanks for checking the video out, and I will put together some more organized content as I move forward in this journey. But I figured touching base, introducing myself, kind of explaining my backstory, and telling you a little bit about my 2.5 milligram journey thus far was important. So until next time, stay well, stay positive, and let's enjoy this journey together. Have a good rest of your day.